HarperCollins presents A History of Water, being an account of a murder, an epic, and two visions of global history, by Edward Wilson Lee. Read by Richard Trinder. I returned, and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding, nor yet favour to the men of skill, but time and chance happeneth to them all. Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, verse 11. When the ship parts from the quay and feels again the space that opens between the ship and quay, a fresh pain comes over me. I don't know why. A mist bank of regret which shines in the sun of my reawakened pain, like the first window on which the dawn breaks, and engulfs me like the memory of someone else who was mysteriously mine. Álvaro de Campos, Odi Maritima. Some say that the soul is mixed in the whole universe. Perhaps that is why Thales thought that everything was full of gods. Aristotle, On the Soul, translated by Kirk and Raven. All mankind is of one author, and is one volume. When one man dies, one chapter is not torn out of the book, but translated into a better language, and every chapter must be so translated. God employs several translators. Some pieces are translated by age, some by sickness, some by war, some by justice. But God's hand is in every translation, and his hand shall bind up all our scattered leaves again for that library where every book shall lie open to one another. John Donne, Devotions upon Emergent Occasions. Chapter 1. A Death in the Archive. It was in the last days of January 1574 that Damião de Gois began his slow transformation into paper. This ending would not perhaps have come as a particular surprise to a man who had spent his life among documents, as guarda-mor in charge of the Portuguese Royal Archive. He was entered into the register of his parish church in the village of Alenquer, a half-day's journey from Lisbon, the sacristan's split-quill pen catching on the fibrous paper as he wrote that, on the 30th day of the month of January of the year 1574, Damião de Gois died, and was buried in the chapel of this church. The sacristan added further, underlining the words that note an unusually quick burial, that, in truth, it was the same day and month and year as above. It is fortunate that the register is so exact about the timings, as the tombstone Damião had commissioned for his own burial was wrong, gave a date, in fact, of more than a decade earlier. Many have looked for the body that was buried that day, without success, and what remains of Damião de Gois is only paper. As well as the entry in the church register, he was folded into a letter that made its way to northern Europe, with an account of his death, dispersed across Europe in unnumbered signed copies, found crumpled into a notebook that was discovered in the Lisbon archive some 200 years later. These documents may explain the sacristan's muted alarm, as a number of them suggest that the king's archivist was the victim of a most peculiar murder. The pieces of Damião's death do not match up. One of the accounts suggests that he was stopping at an inn on the last night of his life, and that at the end of the evening he had sent his servants to bed.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?